There was so much loss in my life. You know, losing a part of your body that makes you a woman. The disease is isolating on its own, but even the physical environment that I used to be in was just gone. My first surgery was about a week after my diagnosis. Invasive ductal carcinoma, and I was estrogen positive, which means that as far as taking tamoxifen or other drugs and things like that, after all the other therapies, my body, it won't help my body. So there is nothing more that I can do right now to prevent it from coming back, except just continue to be healthy. I had a lumpectomy, did 7 weeks of radiation. After that, some more lumps and tumors started appearing on both sides of my body. And I was going back and they said, well, you have quite a few that we need to look at, and because you're young and your tissue's very dense, it's hard for us to even tell what's going on through MRI and X-ray and things like that, and CAT scan. So then the discussions began with the doctors and my husband about, well, what do we do? I thought, wait a minute, that isn't me. I've never smoked. I'm a vegetarian all my life. No history of breast cancer. I was 41 years old. It just was a total, it just turned my world upside down. Well, what do we do? Do we keep cutting me up pieces, taking more and more out to biopsy to see what this is? Or do we just go ahead and really frustrating. I just didn't like my choices. We started to talk about maybe having a mastectomy, a bilateral mastectomy, just to get rid of everything. And during this time, my husband of 16 years, my husband said that he wanted a different life, and so he left. And after that, you know, I was on my own with the kids and was going back to checkups with the doctor, and they found a whole bunch more of new lumps and said, we don't know, we think it might be back, we can't tell from the tests. So you need to make a big decision if you want to have a bilateral mastectomy, or we can biopsy all of these, but we'll tell you the truth that there really won't be much of you left. And that was a lot of time, a lot of stress and anxiety. And so, you know, I flew to Chicago to speak to some experts, and just thought about it for a long, long time. What am I going to do? I'm a single woman now. And I made the decision that I needed to be strong and as healthy as I could be. So I went ahead and I said, yes, let's just get rid of everything. And I had a bilateral mastectomy. And it was tough. It was a loss. A lot of losses at one time. A loss of a marriage and my breasts and everything that I thought it was going to be. It was tough. My friends, who were friends through school and various activities, a lot of them disappeared. They, with the very best intentions, from the love of their heart, would say, well, you just need to decide, you need to wake up and decide that you're going to be okay. And, you know, you're going to move on, and, you know, people do get divorced and people do get sick, and now you've done everything you can. You need to just wake up and choose that I'm going to be okay. And I heard that and I understand that, but it was so not where I was. I would have given anything, to just say that and try and feel it. I was in a very deep depression. I couldn't see, how do I go on? I haven't worked in 15 years. I'm in Las Vegas with the highest unemployment rate. I have to worry about health insurance now with all the healthcare crisis, and I've got this huge pre-existing condition. There was just so much to think about, and it was very dark, and I was very, very depressed and didn't want to go out and be happy and fun. I didn't want to play tennis, and they said, oh, it would be good for you, and they got tired of asking because I would say no, and it was just really tough. I could see what was happening, but I was just surviving. I was just coping. I had nothing left to give to my friends. I was just getting through the day and getting my kids where they needed to be, and that's all I could do with no support. Life went on. I had to keep going with trying to figure out what I'm going to do. It took on even a more urgency because now I was facing single parent, and my kids really needed me to be around and healthy. So I started going around the city and speaking to doctors about reconstruction. I thought, well, if I'm going to do something this drastic, I need to feel comfortable and have reconstruction for myself, because that's such a big part of being a woman. And shockingly, even in this city where, Las Vegas, there's a lot of beautiful women and dancers and showgirls and things, and there's a million plastic surgeons out there who are capable of doing implants, but I scared them off because of all the radiation damage. Nobody wanted to touch me, and at this point I got to do everything I can, whether I find a reconstructive surgeon or not, I need to do this. Shortly after that, God jumped in, and somehow, I don't even remember how, I found this new wonderful reconstructive surgeon, brand new in town, and he said, I can do this for you. Lots of reconstructive surgeries, lots of processes, and there was so much loss in my life. Losing a part of your body that makes you a woman, and then losing my husband, and then losing my friends, and the disease is personal, and it's isolating on its own, but even the physical environment that I used to be in was just gone. I was just alone, and I didn't understand it, and it was a very, very, very tough. And then finally, just in my own time, I just slowly started to feel a little better and a little more confident, and started interacting with people, and new people came into my life, which was kind of nice. They didn't know me before, so there was no expectations. This was Alison, the athlete, or the happy one, or the whatever I used to be. They just knew me, and they didn't know that I got sick unless I shared it with them. They just saw me as kind of a blank slate, and that was easier for me, instead of trying to put on the happy face. Because for me to continue on with the older friendships, I had to really put on the face that they wanted me to have. They wanted me to be happy and feel good. They wanted it so much, and I couldn't do it all the time. It was just exhausting. And these new people just, God put them in my life, and I mean all these really interesting people, and a lot of them have been through a lot of really huge life-changing events, so I can really, really relate to them, and vice versa. And I'm a different person now, and they understand that, and we talk about coping. And coping is just, there's not a book on coping. There is, but it's your own. You have to write your own book on that. You get through it in your own time, in your own way. And some people can, you know, stick through it with you and understand that, and some people can't. Not because they don't want to, but maybe they can't. They've got their own things going on, and maybe I was a burden. Maybe I was too scary to my women friends who saw my entire life fall apart all at once. Maybe I wasn't as fun. I mean, I can think of all these reasons now of maybe why a lot of my friends disappeared. I'm not angry about that. It's just, it was part of my journey. I'm more confident. It is amazing. Always had just silly insecurities. I think a lot of women do. I don't know why, the media or whatever. It was never good enough. And now and I don't know if it's age or what I've been through, probably both. At age 45, I'm a lot more comfortable in my body. However, the changes from the many surgeries I've had, and biopsies and grafts and moving pieces of body from one place to another, and scars, those are tough for me. And I'm learning to get used to that part. As far as just pure vanity, the way it used to be, oh, I have to be perfect, I'm not good enough, that doesn't mean anything to me anymore. One of my favorite quotes is, be kinder than necessary, because everyone you meet is fighting some kind of battle. And just because you see them and they look cute and they're smiling, you have no idea what's going on their home life. You know, their child is disabled, or they just came back from a chemotherapy, or they're recently widowed. You have no idea. So smile at that person. I'm more open, I'm a lot stronger. And that makes me feel good. Now I need to be a career woman, and that's okay. My kids are getting older, they're very independent, and they're excited. It feels good to accomplish a dream that I did have. About 8 years ago, I went and looked at pastry school and discussed it with my husband and said, this is something I'd like to do. And at the time, we decided it was just too much money. You know, we had to pay for the kids and bills, and it was just too much money. So now, it's still too much money, but I need to go back to work, and I might as well do something that I love. And it's like, well, it's just money now. I have a different perspective. I will pay it off when I pay it off. And I'm gonna enjoy it and work hard, and it's gonna be okay. I don't stress nearly as much about things like that. I am Alison. I am a breast cancer survivor. I am the power of pink. I'm cancer-free, but I'm not free of cancer, meaning every couple months I have to go in and have another blood test or another scan or something. But then after that's over, I move on the next day, and it's always going to be a little part of me that this is something that I just have to stay on top of, and for my daughter, of course. You're so cute, Shika. No! She's so cute. You're like the kids in my pastry class. I love them.